So, what if I told you there's a productivity secret out there so powerful, one of the wealthiest men in history paid an absolute fortune for it over a century ago? And here's the kicker, it's a method so simple you can learn it in about 2 minutes. We're going to break down the entire story behind it, and I promise I will reveal that simple 6 step method at the very end. But first, we have to talk about that price tag. The check that was written for this one single idea. It was for $25,000 back in 1908. Now, when you adjust that for inflation, that is over $800,000 today. Yeah, 800 grand for one simple idea about how to organize your day. So, why would anyone pay that much for what sounds like a simple to-do list? Well, it's because it solves a problem that every single one of us faces every single day. And that problem is time. I mean, think about it. It's the one resource you just can't buy more of. It doesn't matter who you are, what you do, or how much money you have. We all get the same 24 hours. And that's really the great paradox of productivity, isn't it? We all get the same amount of time, and yet our results can be worlds apart. Productivity expert Bob Proctor put it perfectly. He said the most effective industrialist in the world gets exactly the same amount of time as a hobo sleeping on a park bench. We all get the same 24 hours. So if time is the great equalizer, then the variable, it has to be what we do with it. And that is exactly the problem a man named Charles Schwab was facing. So our story really centers on this guy, Charles Schwab. And around the turn of the 20th century, Schwab was an absolute titan of industry. I mean, a huge deal. But despite all this incredible success, he felt this deep, gnawing frustration. He knew what he needed to do. He just struggled to get it all done effectively. Let's just put his success into perspective for a second. He was the protege of Andrew Carnegie, who was literally the wealthiest man in the world at the time. Schwab himself, he was earning $1 million salary and $1 million bonus in 1908. And yet, with all that success, he was still agonizing over his own effectiveness. He felt like he was drowning in good ideas, but just failing when it came to execution. So one day, a man named Ivy Lee, who was a productivity consultant, somehow manages to get a meeting with Schwab. He walks into the office of one of the most powerful executives in the world with this bold, almost audacious claim. Ivy Lee's pitch was just incredibly direct. He walks in and just says it. Imagine the confidence it took to say that to a man like Schwab. But it was Schwab's response that really set the stage for everything that happened next. And this right here just brilliantly illustrates Schwab's core frustration. See, he wasn't looking for more ideas. He had plenty of those. His plea was for a system of execution. He basically said, look, if you can give me one idea to get me to do the things I already know I should be doing, I'll pay you anything you ask. Lee didn't even hesitate. He didn't launch into some big sales pitch. His response was just simple and direct. I can do that. And his confidence was totally reflected in the unbelievable deal he offered next. Lee didn't ask for a fee up front. He didn't name a price at all. Instead, he made an offer that put all the risk on himself and all the proof in the results. He was about to share his idea, and his payment was going to be based entirely on how well it actually worked. I mean, this is the ultimate power move. Lee told Schwab to try the method, and after he'd seen the results for himself, you just send me a check for whatever you think it's worth. He was betting his entire fee on the idea that his system's effectiveness would be undeniable. So Ivy Lee explained his method, which took all of like 15 minutes. Schwab then put it to the test. He started integrating it into his daily routine week after week. And after a few weeks of using this really simple technique, he picked up his checkbook. He sent Ivy Lee a check for $25,000. Schwab later said it was the most effective idea he had ever learned, from a dollar and cent point of view. So the crucial question is, what was this nearly $1 million idea? All right, here it is, the moment you've been waiting for. We are about to walk through the exact 6 steps that Charles Schwab paid a fortune for. It's known today as the Ivy Lee method, and its real power is in its radical simplicity. Okay, this is it. Let's walk through this together. Step 1. At the end of each workday, you write down the 6 most important things you need to get done tomorrow. Just 6, no more. Step 2. You prioritize those 6 items, not by what's easy, but by their true importance. Step 3. The next morning, you concentrate only on the first task. Nothing else matters. Step 4. You work until that first task is completely finished before you even think about moving on. Then you move to item number 2, and so on. If anything's left at the end of the day, No big deal. It just gets moved to the new list for tomorrow. And step 6, this is the most important part, you repeat this process every single working day. Now, this is a super important point. This list is not for your daily errands. This isn't for pick up the dry cleaning or buy milk. This list is reserved for the 6 most important goal-achieving ideas. We're talking about the tasks that will actually move the needle on your biggest projects and ambitions. So why is this ridiculously simple system so powerful? Well, first, it forces you to prioritize, like really prioritize. You can't do everything, so you have to choose what truly matters. Second, it just kills the overwhelm. An endless to-do list is paralyzing, but 6 items? That feels manageable. Third, it demands deep, single-tasking focus. By working on one thing until it's done, you're way more effective than when you're juggling 10 things at once. And finally, it builds this unstoppable momentum. When you finish your most important task first thing in the morning, it creates this psychological win that just carries you through the whole day. So ultimately, this method isn't about magically finding more time. It's about making the time you already have incredibly effective. It worked for one of the most successful industrialists in history. And you know what? The principles are just as powerful today. So that leaves us with the question of the day. Thinking about this method right now, what is the #1 most important task you will write down for tomorrow? Let us know in the comments.